What is going on, everybody? It is Gage and Brock, and you're listening in to a Tiefling Talks podcast.
Hope everybody's been having a good day. Here to talk some more shit.
Of course, as always. So I guess we're going to be starting this off with kind of a live kind of reaction or review to the Unearthed Arcana Heroes Occurring Revisited. Um, Little snippet they got going on here, kind of reading over some of the stuff. So let me go ahead and do this. Should pop it up onto kind of the overlay for the video side of things, but we're gonna give this a little look through and kind of um, briefly go through some of this. Not gonna read through the whole thing like word for word, but just kind of skimming over it. Do do do. Uh, Player's handbook offers a list of it was free to add or remove for the particular campaign. So what does that mean? Languages is like the DM adding its own languages and stuff to the Kender race?
This is actually before the Kender race. This is just the character creation options they include in front of most Unearthed Arcana PDFs, where it just goes over the basic character traits that you include, like your ability scores, your languages, your creature type as well. Which
Gotcha.
there's Fey, there's I believe plasmoids are ooze, I don't remember, and then satyrs are Fey, not humanoid. So
Oh,
there's some variation. They're getting better about that, whereas everything used to be humanoid.
gotcha. Um, and then scrolling down here, I do see Kender coming into view. The mythical origins of Kern, Ryuk's god of craft, indulge in an age of unfettered creation. But none among them remain as God created them. Okay. Are diminutive humanoids that look like humans with pointed ears and diverse appearances. Supernatural curiosity that drives them to adventure. Due to this inquisitiveness, many Kinder find themselves falling through portals to other planes and worlds. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this sounds like it's a drop in for basically anything because of that drop in through portals little
Right.
bit that they've got going there.
Kind of
It,
reminds me of the Gensi,
yeah, the
genocide.
Ganassi.
Genasi.
Yep.
Um,
Um Yeah, them, and it sounds like their looks are gonna be quite similar to, like, halflings and half-elves,
right.
being on the shorter side. Not They're usually not quite small, they're still considered medium, but having the smaller size, the pointed ears still being considered humanoid, it's very well possible that they could be mistaken for other races if you wanted to drop them in and build a mystery around them.
Honestly, it kind of reminds me of goblins, but not the kind of green little goblins that D&D is known for. The kind from like Harry Potter with the pointed ears that work at
Yeah, that
Gringotts.
Yeah, okay, I can picture that.
That's what they kind of remind me of. High magic, very magical beings, very like smart and clever beings in short. Um, all right, let's see here. Kender traits. We got creature type. You are humanoid. Size. You are small. Okay. Ooh, you got this. You're considered small, but you still have a walking speed of 30 feet.
Right, which is different from even medium creatures like, halflings having the 25 feet.
Right. Um, you're immune to the frightened condition right off the bat. That's already good. Kender curiosity. Thanks to the mythical origins of your people, you gain proficiency with one of the following skills of your choice. Um, Insight, investigation, sleight of hand, stealth, or survival could be a very good pick for people wanting to run the rogue class.
Yeah, or even, just, like, campaigns that have a little more realism to them or have more encounters per day, having that, survival and that investigation could allow you to have, like, a safer camp or look for food, stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. And even insight, all these are really good picks for your skill choices. So that's not bad.
Yeah.
Taunt. You have an extraordinary ability to fluster creatures. As a bonus action, you can unleash a string of provoking words at a creature within 60 feet of you that you can hear and understand you. The target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw, or it has a disadvantage on attack rolls against targets other than you until the start of your next turn. Okay, that's instantly pretty good. It kind of is a nice like deviation from like vicious mockery, and it's kind of like a vicious mockery in flavor sense, but in practical sense, it's much more akin to um, I man, what's that spell I'm trying to think of that gives
I'm
disadvantage?
looking it up right now. It's a paladin spell. I think it's like it's compelled duel. That's what it
Yep.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what came to mind to me is you're replacing a first level spell and you can use this bonus action up to your proficiency bonus times and are regained upon finishing a long rest. So right off the bat, you can do this twice, just like your full casters would be able to.
And that's pretty good. And this is all just from the Kender race. This isn't even like a class selection.
Yeah, and if you pair that with some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about here in a little bit, I'm seeing that there's some potential for some really strong, like level 1 through 4 characters just with these new abilities that, and the extra feats that they're granting.
Oh, I'm definitely interested to hear your thoughts on how to maximize the playability of this
Yeah.
optimization.
That's one thing that optimization, like it's all good on paper, but as soon as you get in combat and enemies just start running around you or appearing from the sides and attacking your backline, you can be as tanky as you want. But if somebody runs around and hits the 6 HP level 1 wizard, they're not doing well. You're not tanking well enough.
Right, the whole point is to draw the enemy to you and hold them there while the rest of your team just kind of deals some damage from a distance or whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. This seems like a really good way to it's not going to be very consistent because if you're building a marshal, you're probably not focusing much into your mental scores, more your physicals. But I mean, 8 plus 2 plus even if you have like a +1 in one of your mental stats, that's still a save of 11. That's above average at level 1.
Right. Um, let's see here. The Dragonlance backgrounds now. Two backgrounds for characters from the world of Kern. So keep in mind, backgrounds are typically something that may give you like an extra language or something like that, but they kind of um, give a overarching feel for your character. So they're not supposed to have too much sway, but enough to kind of give you like that little extra something. So let's see what we got here. Dragonlance backgrounds, bonus feats, whatever background you choose for your War of the Lance character. You gain bonus feats as detailed below. Characters involved in conflict are forced and changed by their experience. What?
These are the way that I'm seeing this at least is this is like you're dropping into a much like more war hardened world where even like just beginning adventures they've gone through so much to the point where they need these extra abilities like it's just going to be a more difficult setting. So instead of these rules applying to any game that you go to, as much fun as that would be, I feel it's very situational whether your DM chooses to use these bonus feats.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, this would be something like if you're dropped into a Dark Souls level type of world, then, they'd probably drop these in here to give you a little bit of a chance.
Yeah, and a little bit of a chance when you're pulling well, I'll let us read to that part, but yeah, a lot
Um,
of bit of a chance.
right. First level bonus feat. If you select the Knights of Soma or Mage of High Sorcerer, you gain the bonus feat specified in the background. If the background you choose doesn't provide a feat, you gain a bonus feat of your choice from the following list: Divinely Favored, Skilled, Tough. Um, Actually, right off the bat, those first levels are pretty good. Skilled is a nice one to have, and so is Tough, especially if you get to choose them at first level.
Yeah, tough on like your level 1 barbarian if you're raging and you double your effective HP. You're gaining an extra 4 HP at level 1 where 4 HP could be your entire wizard at level 1 if they have like no con modifier or a
Yeah,
negative con, which is common. Skilled is absolutely good. That's more for out of combat stuff where you could pick up like stealth and insight or persuasion
Right.
something to affect your RP.
Yeah.
Let's scroll ahead a little and see what Divinely Favored does, because if I remember correctly, that would be
One
you
of the new
gain.
ones.
Yes, that is.
Okay.
You learn one cantrip of your choice from the cleric spell list and one first level spell based on the alignment of your character, as specified in the alignments table below. You also learn the augury spell. You can cast the chosen first level spell and the augury spell without a spell slot, and you must finish a long rest before you can cast either of these spells this way again. You can also cast these spells using spell slots you have of the appropriate level. You get to choose your spell casting ability for this.
Oh.
So immediately this is Fey Touched. That's what this sounds like to me, is just a better version of Fey Touched,
Yeah.
because Augury in itself is a good early divination spell, but when you're able to pull a cantrip from the cleric's list, so you can pull guidance, mending, message, or offensive stuff like firebolt. I believe frostbolt is on there as well. Um, But then you're able to pull, if you're evil, a first level warlock spell, which you can get Armor of Agathis, Hex. Those are really the two standout options for me. Clerics, you can get, let's see, Cure Wounds, Healing Word, Gift of Alacrity, maybe, I think. Um, but Druid, in my opinion, is the favorite, because as a feat at first level for free, you get this. You can pick Goodberry, and your party never has food problems again.
Oh yeah, without an issue, you instantly negate that kind of survival challenge of making sure you always got rations because it as long as you're playing a normal game where the max party size is 6, you create what, 10 good berries, I think it is.
Yes, up to 10 Goodberries.
Yeah, so you're good to go. Without much issue there. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Another thing I see is if you end up actually do going like a wizard or a sorcerer or a warlock, even, you're able to, because it specifies your spellcasting ability for these feat spells, you get to choose when you pick the feat. So you can get a healing word or a cure wounds that's based on your intelligence modifier or your charisma modifier. So you can be a wizard that can now effectively heal with cure wounds as well, because you don't only have to cast it first level, you can upcast and for a third level spell be healing for 3d8 plus 5 or something if you have your intelligence maxed.
Right, right. Oh, without a doubt. What is this augur spell?
Let's pull up the description so that we can read that.
Um,
Do It's actually a second level spell. Um, by casting gem inlaid sticks, rolling dragon bones, lay out ornate cards, or employing some other divining tool, you can receive an omen from an otherworldly entity about results of a specific course of action you plan to take within the next 30 minutes. The DM chooses one of the following omens: wheel for good results, woe for bad results, wheel and woe for both good and bad results, or nothing for results that aren't especially good or bad. Spell doesn't take into account any outside circumstances that may change the outcome. If you cast the spell two or more times before completing a long rest, there's a 25% chance for each casting to just make a random uh,
hmm.
outcome.
This is actually really cool.
Yeah,
I like this spell just because of the fact that, you know, I personally in my campaigns use something that I allow my players to use, which is a talk to God check, and you roll religion, and you can kind of ask God, and which is the DM, and you kind of get some sort of hint to help you with the puzzle or wherever you're at, kind of give you guys a course of action to go on. Um, so this would be a great like alternative to be able to kind of give them like these scrolls of um, I don't even know how to pronounce it,
augury.
augury,
Yep.
and basically they'd be able to use them, and they'd have a set number of them, so they'd have to use them wisely, but they could use them to kind of get a little help or a little bit of a kind of guidance.
Yeah. Looking at the spell though, in the feat, it doesn't specify that you can avoid your material components. So maybe that's part of their like quest, or maybe they have one-time use components. These gem inlaid sticks, rolling dragon bones, cards, or other stuff like that. Maybe those are like little quest items that once they use the augury spell on there once per day, that they burn up or something, and they have to go find more.
Right, right, definitely. You know, that I'm sure there's some way to work it into where, you know, they specifically get a set amount of these that they can use and have to be smart with them. Um, but yeah, that's right off the bat. That's for a background. This is insane.
Yeah, when backgrounds used to do nothing, you would get like a tool proficiency, maybe a vehicle, maybe a couple skills and a language.
Right,
This is up far and beyond, like way more than anybody should be getting.
right,
And we're not even to the backgrounds that they included. This is just like the general rules for their world.
right. Not no doubt. And like that's what I'm afraid to get to because as I kind of look over here at fourth level bonus feats, you got the adepts, and then you get right off the bat alert. That's a fantastic skill that I believe everyone could benefit from.
Yeah.
Um,
Plus
Knight of
5 to initiative, no surprise.
right,
Yeah, that's incredible.
Knight of the Crown, Knight of the Rose, Knight of the Sword, mobile feat, amazing. Like I said, if you're going with the Rogue, Sentinel's also good for a Rogue. Good for your frontline tank fighter. And then Warcaster. All of these are great feats that you can get.
Yeah,
Um,
the way I'm seeing this is you can have your 4th level fighter, paladin, barbarian. You can have them be pulling the polearm master and sentinel combination at 4th level without having to sacrifice and go like variant human to take one of your feats. You can like take,
you
let's
can,
see.
I think you can get like 3 feats at that point. At level 4, if you went with Variant Human. If you didn't, you could still get 2 by fourth level.
Yeah, variant human, 1st level, 4th level. Your 1st level one, you're pulling, I mean, the correct choice basically is divinely favored, but it really depends on what you want to do.
Right.
But man, cleric spell list cantrips, like there's a lot of room for like adding spells to any martial would help. But if you're pulling Polearm Master from your variant human, and you get Sentinel at 4th level, and then at 4th level you're getting an ASI, you bump up like your strength or something to increase your accuracy with your polearm. You're hitting at 4th level. So at 4th level is your proficiency bonus 3 or 2.
I believe 3. Let me double
Yeah,
check
so you're
that.
hitting. I mean, if you start with a 16 strength, bump it up to 18 with your 4th level ASI, then that's +4, +3 from proficiency. So you're hitting +7 for 2 attacks a turn, one with your action, one with your bonus, and your reaction to be able to just bop whatever's trying to run at you and
O-
step back.
Okay, so I looked it up. Level 4, it's still a +2. It's level 5 that it becomes a +3.
Sure. I mean, even at +6 still,
Yeah.
and
Oh
you
yeah.
have both your feats, because that's the issue with the Sentinel Polearm Master, is it's strong right out of the gate, but as soon as you're like getting into these higher levels, you're really feeling not having those ASIs like other builds would. But this
Right.
is just circumnavigating it entirely.
Broken, broken, broken. Just perhaps, if you know this is the type of world that you allow this type of stuff to happen in. But you know, if you're just going for a normal game, I definitely wouldn't recommend unless you have played with this and you kind of are very comfortable with it in your worlds. Because, like I said, this can very much unbalance the party to where your encounters become a lot tougher to do because now all of a sudden you have this tank that's doing their job and pulling the enemies. However, it can work too well sometimes and cause you as a DM some issues trying to get your smart or supposedly smart little bad guys to run around some of the tanks and head to the back line and hit them to kind of make the encounter a little bit more interesting. And so, you know, this really kind of, I don't want to say hinders that, but it makes it a lot harder to do as a DM.
Yeah, it definitely makes it harder. It also lets later game people, like the exponential casters that just take forever to start scaling, it gives them this early like
Boost.
buff, yeah, boost, for instance. So what I'm picturing right now is a blade singer that runs at first level, or sorry, as a race, there's some kind of elf, probably a high elf, for the intelligence boost and the +2 to dex and a little bit of magic from their racial traits. As a background, I don't know, they can take basically anything. And then they get their tough feat at first level. That offsets their D6 hit die at level one. So they can be 9, 10 HP depending on their con mod. And then at fourth level, they take the Warcaster feat. And now they can run out there and they can be either dual wielding or they can have a two-handed weapon, which actually you can't use with blade singing. So you could be dual wielding and you can be out there, um,
Just slapping things.
yeah, just slapping things, and you can still have your ASIs to put into intelligence, dexterity to cover your AC.
And this is just the bonus feats. This isn't even actually what the backgrounds give you.
Right.
Um, so that's insane to kind of put in there. I mean, if it's a heavy war torn world you're playing with, then yeah, this might work, and you know it kind of gives your players the chance to kind of see this and go with it. But you know, for any normal adventure, definitely modules, I would not allow this because you know modules are very kind of cut and dry to a certain way. So you know this would kind of OP some people in the module setting.
Yeah, I would definitely leave this as UA. Please don't publish it the way it is. Because
R-
as soon as it's published and people start taking this as their plus one in or like if this gets published and they start taking it as their plus one into Adventures League games, and suddenly they're 3 feats ahead of their entire tier 1, tier 2 party.
right.
Welcome to problems. Yeah.
And it becomes really unbalanced really quickly. But other than that, I mean, it's cool from a player's aspect. This would be like, oh my god, I hope my DM lets me do this. Then I become this ultimate powerhouse, you know. But from a DM standpoint and from like a outside perspective, this is definitely something cool to play with as on the side and kind of theory craft with. But it is definitely something very very broken and something that can be taken um, heavy advantage of, I should say.
Yeah, fun to play with, not to eat.
Right.
Let's all right. We spent quite enough time on just this like 3 or 4 paragraphs. Let's move on.
Yeah.
So the Knights of Solamnia, that's eerily close to salami. So all right, the Knight of Salami, trained to be a valorous warrior known as the Knight of Salami. Strict rules guide your every action and your work to uphold them as you strive to defend the weak and oppose evil. Generic knight description so
Right.
far. Generic knight proficiencies, athletic survival, 2 languages, which is better.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, equipment, insignia of rank, which you can use to probably pull rank with guard in other cities to leverage for like somewhere to stay, stuff like that.
Right.
Um, excuse me. Deck of cards, set of clothes. I hope they include that. And a pouch of 10 gold. Okay, not bad. So far, pretty standard stuff.
Right. Um,
Features Squire of Salami. You gain the Squire of Salami feat, presented later in the doc. In addition, Knights of Salami provide you free modest lodging. Okay, so there's the pulling rank thing you're seeing.
right.
Modest lodging and food in any of their forts.
Okay, so that could be a big help, and you know, I'm sure you can kind of pull your rank to get your party in there as well to be able to stay.
Yeah,
Um,
because when staying usually costs like a golden night or for like crap conditions, then this can really help save, especially when games are being run on a full currency system instead of just a gold based system.
right, right. All right. Building a knight of salami character. Fighters and paladins make up the bulk of the knighthood's forces. Clerics with the war domain can also be found among the knights ranks. Okay, so it's more of like a religious kind of zealot, where the Templars basically.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's going to be mainly like your tankier Gish characters.
Yeah. For a more unusual take, Bard of College of Valor. Yeah, okay. Or a barbarian devoted to the ideals of the nature god, Habakkuk.
Yeah, that's my best guess.
Um, okay. Adventurers who dedicate them to. Okay, yeah. So there's the suggested characteristics, personality traits. Um, Let's see. Knights of Salami trinkets. When you make your character, you may roll one of the Knights of Salami trinket table instead of the trinket table in the player's handbook for your starting. Okay. So in here it adds a flat silver disc. You record your heroics upon. Okay. So basically like a CD recorder.
That
Uh,
would be pretty fun. Yeah. Hold on. Let me pop this DVD and this little projector I definitely don't have
right.
show off a little.
That's a little too on the nose. If I'm putting my 2 cents in. A piece of fallen knight's armor. Okay, so out of like some sort of like avenge arc. Reminds me of Warhammer 40K because they in there all of the armor that the Adeptus Astartes use
Okay.
is all handed down from person to person. So every soldier that falls, their armor is repurposed and given to the next soldier in line. And
Yeah.
so some of their armor that they wear, you'll just see is covered in like names because every Adeptus Astartes carves their name into the suit of armor once they wear it. And so you'll see some that are covered in thousands upon thousands of names. And so that's kind of what that reminds me of immediately.
Yeah,
Um,
I could definitely see that being inspired by the power of your fallen comrades, like an ancestral guardian barbarian, maybe wearing like a light armor that they've carried or that like their comrades have worn and fallen in, something like that.
right, right. A pendant featuring a crown, a rose, a sword, or a combination of all three. Okay. The pommel of your mentor's sword. Interesting. Okay. That's actually not too bad of a play on uh kind of like homebrew like RP world stuff. Um,
Yeah, that would
uh,
be an interesting like side quest is getting your own blade forged onto this pommel that you've kept with you ever since your mentor fell in battle or something as like a last memento to you.
right, and at the end of the campaign, you know, you can take on your own steward or whatever and kind of pass the pommel on. That,
Yeah.
that'd be cool. Um, a meaningful favor from someone you defended, perhaps a handkerchief or glove. Awesome. That's kind of like that. Thanks for saving us, and here's my handkerchief type of deal.
Yeah, a single white glove covered in rhinestones.
A brass locket with the sketch of a silver dragon inside. Ooh, that's a little out there from the rest of these.
Yeah,
Um,
that's surprisingly like more towards home, towards the other or otherwise English is difficult tonight.
no, you're good.
This one's like hitting a lot more towards home, maybe for like a dragonborn or like a draconic soul sorcerer, maybe.
Right, right. Yeah, I could definitely see something like that.
Yeah. All right,
But
let's jump down and see what this Squire of Salami feat has while we're on this.
yeah, let's see. Where can I find that?
End of page 5, last one.
Oh, okay.
You training in the ways of the Knights of Salami grants you these benefits. Mount up. Mounting or dismounting only costs 5 feet of movement.
Okay.
That's going to be a topic for another day is mounted combat and how it differs so wildly from standard 5e combat.
Yeah, for
Like if
sure.
because we also had the Kender, which are a small race, which means they can mount and do combat on medium-sized creatures like dire wolves and stuff.
Right.
So even if you have like a familiar or something that's quadrupedal and you can cast enlarge reduce on it, you can ride your familiar into battle as well, or paladins with summon steed.
Yeah, I've actually never got the chance to deal with too much mounted combat. Most of the time, my players only get like one type of animal, and it's to pull a cart, and then they just walk besides the cart.
Yeah, it seems like that's the way a lot of the time it's handled is mounts are mainly for like traveling around. Because if you think about it, a lot of the time that you're like dungeon delving and stuff, there's not room for a mount because your
Yeah.
paladin in full plate on their war horse is standing well over like 14 feet tall, probably.
Right. Especially if
Well,
you're one of the bigger races.
yeah, not 14, probably 10, but still, that's going to be higher than most of your standard 7, 8 foot ceilings. If your party's Goliath has to crouch, then your warhorse is crawling if you're on the back, and that don't work.
Right. Squire maneuvers. You learn the lunging attack, precision attack, or pushing attack maneuvers from the Battlemaster subclass of the fighter in the player's handbook. If the maneuver requires a saving throw, the save equal DC equals 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your strength or dexterity modifier, your choice. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can replace the maneuver you learned from this feat with another one from the list above. Oh, that's actually really cool. Getting stuff from Battlemaster as um, a background. That's a little kind of it's a little much, honestly.
Yeah, definitely feeling the power creep with this UA here.
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, you're literally taking from what some people have to take a full class for, and just giving it out as a feat or a background. Um, let's see, superiority dice. You get a number. Yeah, same thing. We all know kind of where superiority dice fall into play here. And yeah, that's it's a little bit of a yikes, being able because then it kind of just moots the point of anyone like actually taking the class four and choosing the battle master, because why would they when they can just take this background?
Yeah, and by the looks of it, I'm just kind of taking a quick look around the page. It looks like it's going to get a lot worse. I'm seeing a lot of these knight-based feats are just pulling more maneuvers from Battlemaster.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
Yeah, it looks like this is a pretty good pick of like early game. Precision attack is always a solid choice. Lunging attack, not so much because that puts you in range rather than getting you out of it. Um, However, pushing attack, 15 feet knockback on a failed strength save, that's pretty powerful at any level, even though your saving throws may not be very high.
not to mention if the environment allows it, it kind of allows you to just push somebody off a cliff.
Yeah, I'm imagining Spartacus and 300 kicking the messenger into the pit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I
Solid,
could.
solid kick.
Yeah, and a solid feat just that's given to you for free with a background.
Yeah. No. That's insane. So let's head back up here and see.
Yep.
Do do
Mage
do.
of High Sorcery.
Let's scroll down. So Mage of High Sorcery. Your talents for magic come to the attention of the mages of high sorcery, an organization of spellcasters that study magic and prevent its misuse. You've trained among the mages, but whether or not you'll face the dangerous tests required to become a true member of the group remains to be determined. Your passion for studying magic has likely already predisposed you towards one of the organization's three orders: the Benevolent Order of the White Robes, the Balanced Pursuing Order of the Red Robes, or the Ruthless Order of the Black Robes. See, I feel like that should be kind of those colors should be mixed around. I feel like red should be ruthless, white should be the balance, and benevolent might be black or something, or maybe like a blue. But
Yeah.
either way,
No, I can definitely see that.
it's just a little kind of wording. Skill proficiencies: Arcana history, languages, two of your choice, equipment, a bottle of colored ink, an ink pen, a set of common clothes, and a pouch containing 10 gold pieces. A bottle of colored ink. That's kind of cool. So you don't have to always just write in black. You can get like red ink, green, blue, something like that. So that's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
it could be very thematic to be writing in the color of your like robe order. I
Right,
the benevolence writing in white probably wouldn't do too hot, but you could write in like a gold or something like that.
right. Or you got like black parchment you can write in white on there. Uh,
Yeah, that would be a good trip.
yeah. Feature innate of high sorcery. You gain the innate of high sorcery feat presented later in this document. In addition, the mages of high sorcery provide you with free modest lodging. Okay, same thing with the knight.
Yeah, the idea of pulling rank, and we'll look at this initiate a high sorcery feat in a little bit.
Yeah. So let's take a look here. Magic at high sorcery. Magic at high sorcerer
Do-do-do.
shrewd.
End
Um,
of page 4.
Dragonlance. All right, yeah. Let's see here. Innate of high sorcery. Okay, I see it now. You receive training from magic users affiliated with the Mages of High Sorcery. Choose one of three moons of current to influence your magic. The Black Moon, I'm not even going to pronounce that. The Red Moon, not going to pronounce that either. Or the White Moon. Um, if you want to give a go at pronouncing those by all means.
Sure, the black moon would be Nuatari, the red moon Lunatari, or the white moon Solinari, maybe.
I'm not going to make any comment on the first one, but yeah.
Nice.
You learn one cantrip of your choice from the wizard spell list and two first level spells based on the moon you choose, as specified in the lunar spells table. Okay, a lot to unpack here.
Oh
So
boy.
the first one is a cantrip of your choice from the wizard spell list. That's pretty good. The first one comes to mind for upfront fighters is Green Flame Blade. Um,
Yep,
it's
always a staple to have on a Gish of any kind.
right. The extra damage is always welcome. Um,
Of course, I'm a sucker for shape water, so I would almost always take that.
Shape Water's
Uh,
good.
however, however, I could see like Firebolt on your fighter or something for maybe there's like a 200-foot battlefield or something, and its armies approaching. Your fighter, he can really only just like run his 30 action dash another 30,
Right.
but this he could run his 30, and then when someone comes in range, he could fire bolts and be dealing damage on his way in.
Right, right. All right, and let's take a look at the moon-based spells here, which is I think listed higher up if I'm not mistaken.
Beginning of next page, actually.
Oh, do.
So let's just call them
Oh,
by the moons. The black moon spells are you choose two spells from Dissonant Whispers, False Life, Hex, and Ray of Sickness. So
pretty
immediately
good.
I'm seeing Gish again. So you're taking Green Flame Blade for your cantrip, and then take False Life for your temp HP and Hex for your reliable increase to DPR.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
let's see. The Red Moon spells I choose two from Color Spray, Disguise Self, Featherfall, and Longstrider.
these ones hit me more as like kind of RP moments or maybe like kind of espionage kind of hit and run tactics, not really much in the way of like upfront fighting or any type of like real combat sense, but these are kind of more like situational um
Yeah,
instances.
I could see this being fun on like a mobility based rogue who packs disguise self for like getting in, and then Longstrider, which if you're booking it, your action, bonus action, and full movement. So you're gaining 30 feet per round from Longstrider alone.
Right. So that would
Yep.
definitely help. And then the final moon gives you comprehend languages, detect evil and good, protection from evil, good, and shield. Right off the bat, comprehend languages and shield are both really good if you utilize the languages in your campaign.
Yeah.
Um,
Protection from evil and good is fairly good as well. However, the status effects that it resists are really niche. So if you're facing things like fears, let's see, your charms as well. If you're facing stuff like that early, maybe you're in like a Feywild setting, then I could see this being very helpful. But otherwise, I would agree with comprehend languages and shield.
yeah. Yeah. So good spells. I mean, especially the first one there is probably my probably go-to pick. But having shield is actually not bad either, especially for a non-innate spellcaster, who kind of takes this. Let me emphasize this as a background, not as a class. It's
Yeah, just it's free, basically. You're sacrificing your flexibility for maybe like getting a map of city streets or like a familiarity with the crime underworld or something, which could be good in its own game, but you're sacrificing that to gain first level spells. a second level spell, if you go with the what was that? The divinely favored, the first level bonus feat.
Yep.
Like you're gaining so much just from giving up these menial backgrounds at most.
Right. And,
Because
I guess from my standpoint, what I always thought backgrounds were this kind of like thing that really didn't matter too much. Yeah, it was a nice couple of additional proficiencies, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but it wasn't like a meaty kind of anything there. So, there was not really much to it. So I didn't really kind of give it the full thought of kind of picking a background. I just pick something. I'm like, yeah, it gives me more languages, so that way I can understand more people. Sure, cool. But now it's like, yeah, here's a spell slot. Here's a couple feats, and it's like, holy shit.
yeah, I always ended up just going with like the criminal background or something because it gave me deception and stealth, and I never ended up using the criminal speciality or anything that allowed me to or the contact that you get with the feat. I just used it for skills, but now we're getting spells, we're getting free lodging, which the soldier already got, but it was kind of nerfed because they got low gold and like no skills that were useful.
Right. And so now we can look at the kind of feats here below. And these, I believe, are just feats that are added in that you can choose at your normal kind of level up spots of, I think, fourth level. What is it? Eighth? Classes differ depending on, because I think, or are they all the same? I think they're all the same.
No, fighter is the one that stands out. You can take the feats that we're going to be talking about. These also qualify for your fourth level free feat.
Really? Okay,
These are
that's
the
right.
adepts and the knight feats that are listed there.
Right,
Uh,
right. Okay, I do see that now.
but yeah, I believe your feat spread on classes disregarding fighter would be 4, 8, 12, 16, 19.
Okay. So get a chance to get these, but out of that, as a background, you can also choose these feats as we go through them. Let's see. Let's start with the top one here. A depth of the black robes. You choose the moon. Nutari to influence your magic and your ambitions and loyalty to the Order of the Black Robes and recognize granting these benefits. You learn one second level spell of your choice. The second level spell must be from the enchantment or necromancy school of magic. You can cast this feat second level spell without a spell slot. You must finish a long rest before you can cast it in this way again. You can also cast a spell using spell slots you have of the appropriate level. The spellcasting ability is the one chosen when you gain the initiative high sorcery feat. And then life channel comes with this as well. You can channel your life force into the power of your magic. When a creature you see within 60 feet of you fails a saving throw against a spell that deals damage that you cast, you can expend a number of hit dice equal to the level of the spell. Roll the expended hit dice and add them together. The damage that creature takes increases by the amount equal. That is insane. That is insane. Um, to be able to take your hit dice that you may or may not wind up using, because a lot of games now it's kind of, yes, you may have probably two encounters before a long rest. A lot of times you can get away without having a short rest to regain hit points. So if your team is doing really good at keeping your wizard from taking damage, or your kind of backline person from taking damage, and they have this, uh you're he's basically golden to use those as extra damage.
Yeah, I could definitely see this being really good for like Nova type builds, especially just like blasters, like Draconic Soul Sorcerers come to mind, just spamming Fireball. Um, it does say when a creature fails, so it's not adding these dice on top of the entire spell's damage for an AoE. It's more a fuck you in particular than a to whom it may concern. However, if you're targeting the boss with something, um, it can't be something like Hold Person because it does specify you have to deal damage with the spell, but something like a Tasha's Mind Whip, which is something I'd choose with that ambitious magic second level spell. you can be adding on your hit dice. You can add 2 hit dice for that alone, which if you're looking at a wizard, that's only gonna be a D6, but because you can bring this on a fighter too, you can or even a barbarian, you can stack up to, like, a D12 of damage.
But imagine, right? You take a tiefling race, right, with burning hands, and so it's guaranteed at least half damage. You take a tiefling with burning hands, you bring them in here, or even a dragonborn with their breath weapon, are both kind of I don't know, maybe not breath weapon. That might be more of a kind of gray area, but definitely burning hands because that's a spell. And you have them casting burning hands. They have to make a save for it, which means that you could use your life channel to dump all your dice into it. So, say your fighter's good with healing potions, and they're just popping their healing potions they're a tiefling and they have this background and this feat. At fourth level, they're dropping what 4 hit dice on top of their burning hands, whatever level they cast it, and even halved. That's still pretty dang good, especially with the fighters. What is it, 1d10?
Yes, fighters are a D10 hit die.
Yeah, ridiculous. That is utterly ridiculous. Or even your barbarians 1d12, just coming in here and adding all of those onto your burning hands second level spell right off the
Yeah,
bat at fourth level.
yeah, I think I like the way that I'm seeing wizards starting or Wizards of the Coast rather, starting to incorporate hit dice into characters as resources that you can expend in your character, not just as like healing components outside of battle.
Oh yeah, no, that's awesome. It's awesome that they're bringing it in, but maybe kind of tweak it just a little bit because that is super powerful because you basically just almost like supercharge this. And what comes to mind is the what's it called, the meta magic, I think.
Yes, heightened
Um,
spell probably.
yeah, where you can kind of do stuff like this, where you kind of either extend the duration or kind of up the damage, stuff like that. And kind of add stuff to it. But yeah, I mean, it's a cool thought at the very least. Maybe a little bit of tweaking is needed, but other than that, it's really cool.
Yeah, and I definitely agree that Life Channel is strong, but looking back at ambitious magic, necromancy doesn't really bring much, but the enchantment spell list at second level is extremely strong, especially for being able to cast without a spell slot. The
Oh
three things
yes,
that come to mind for me are Hold Person, Tasha's Mind Whip, and Zone of Truth, all of which are enchantment spells, and you can get this one time use a day for free. Hold Person, we know is incredibly strong. That's a paralysis on a failed save. They can remake the save at the end of their turn, but Tasha's Mind Whip, I think, is something that a lot of people have slept on. Where if you actually hit, if they've failed their saving throw, which means you could stack on your life channel, then they get either an action or a bonus action or movement. They have to choose one of the three. So you
right,
tap them
right.
with that, you move back 10 feet, and they can no longer hit you for the next round, basically.
Yeah, I totally glossed over the fact that it must be from the enchantment or necromancy school. So yes, that does kind of help mitigate the damage dealt there. And what you can do because dex based saves are kind of always damage is taken, but unless you're a rogue, it's can be mitigated with a save. But yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I can see this being uh now that I look at it with enchantment or necromancy, it could be a very nice addition early on. Um, but imagine you get life channel at like level 10 and stuff like that, and you have it with your 10 hit dice. You just power up a second level spell to a you know fifth or sixth level spell slot, basically in terms of damage.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be. I'm interested to see how people optimize with multi-classing between maybe like a fighter Eldritch Knight or like a fighter Purple Dragon Knight for those
Right.
who remember that class.
Yeah.
Um, with their half casting abilities and bringing in like a circuit in or something like that, where they have the D10 hit dice from Paladin to expend with this life channel because it doesn't specify what class those dice have to come from.
Right. Let's move on to Adapt to the Red Robes here and take a look at this one. Insightful Magic. You learn one second level spell of your choice. So basically the same outline with Illusion and Transmutation Schools of Magic. But the difference, instead of Life Channel, they get Magic Balance. When you make an attack roll or an ability check and roll a 9 or lower on the d20, you can balance the fate and treat the roll as a 10. That's pretty good. You can balance fate in this way a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus and regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So I've always thought that that was like always a cool thing to have, but there was always something a little bit better that I'd fill my um, feet with or something else because I did see this on something else. I think it's for something to do with the fighters, like two weapon fighting or great weapon mastery or something along the lines where basically when you roll um, something low, you can re-roll the damage dice. But there was also another one where you can take the 9 or lower and treat it as a 10.
That, if memory serves, that would be Clockwork Soul Sorcerer.
Yeah, that might be it.
Yep.
Um,
As
so
far as the spells that it gives, illusion immediately jumps out. You've got things like blur, you have things like mirror image for
mirror
your
image,
gish.
I love mirror image. I use it all the time on my rogue.
Yep, you have invisibility, another good one. You have
Yep.
silence, which is surprisingly underrated, albeit that one has higher chance of alerting people because if two guards are talking about like the finest wenches in the land in the other room and you cast silence while you're trying to steal stuff, they're going to notice they can't talk to each other.
Right.
But transmutation also has spike growth, which is very fun when combined with plant growth because their movement hindrances stack.
And I
You
believe
have
one of those you can actually light on fire for an extra 2d4 damage or 2d6, something like that.
that would be plant growth. Yep. And then you have rope trick, which is an hour duration as well. So that's to keep in mind. You can short rest up inside your rope trick. Uh, and back on the other page, we have dark vision, which is always good. Heat metal, which is surprisingly good early game against those plate mail and shield 21 AC
Bandits
like
and stuff.
fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got a solid list here, and you get to pick one of these spells that you can cast just for free once a day. So
Right.
since honestly, since heat metal doesn't require a saving throw, as long as they can't get rid of whatever it is you're heating, that would be my pick on the majority of characters, especially fighters just looking for a little bit of extra damage.
Right. And, you know, you're a frontline fighter. Having mirror image at the disposal is also really good because, you know, it gives you those extra chances to kind of tank a lot more of the big bad's damage without taking any actual real damage. Um, All right, moving on to Adept of the White Robes here. Protective magic, so you get your abjuration and divination schools, and then instead of life channel and magic balance, you get protective ward. When you or a creature you can see within 30 feet of you takes damage, you can use your reaction to expend a spell slot and weave protective magic around the target. Roll a number of d6 equal to the level of the spell slot expended and reduce the damage the target takes by the total rolled on the dice, plus your spellcasting ability modifier. That's really cool. I'm trying to think what class allows you to do that as well because I
That's the Abjuration School Wizard.
okay, yep, yeah, all right, yeah, because I remember someone in one of my sessions doing that. They kind of negated some of the damage that was taken because I think they casted something or they used something.
Yeah, there's a very fun, well, I say fun, there's a very powerful I believe it's the Mark of Finding Gnome and the Abjuration Wizard, where they can cast at will. I believe it's non detection, which is an abjuration spell that allows them to refill their essentially a pool of temporary HP that they can grant to other people, their arcane ward.
Yes, yeah, that's actually really cool.
Yeah. And the spell list, Abjuration, Divination. We've already talked about augury being quite strong, and you probably already have gotten that from your first level if you didn't
Right.
take tough. You can also pick up aid, which gives three creatures in range 5 HP on their temp or on their max HP for 8 hours. So a whole adventuring day of just plus 5 HP for three people.
Yep. Really
Um,
good.
one of the things that's standout that I love this spell and I never can find a way to take it, pass without trace. A
Oh,
plus 10 to
love it.
stealth for your entire party.
I uh I actually have I think it's in my Silver Dawn campaign, Percy, the rogue, he's actually part druid, and he has passed without a trace. And for as many times as I've run this campaign for other groups, every time I kind of bring Percy in to help them out with a pass without the trace whenever they want to sneak into town and get more information. At least early games, so that way they can kind of get a chance versus their clanky paladin, just running in full plate and uh, destroying their sneak attempts.
Yeah, I feel like that's also something that it kind of slows down how a party can really do their adventuring. For instance, our game where we're running Silver Dawn, and we have our paladin fighter Austin, and then I'm playing the rogue draw cab, where I'm always sent into town first and then have to scout out. It seems like that really slows down and like kind of grinds the game to a halt because then you're only interacting. Like we have to take the time to go through this one on one while
Right,
everyone else is just sitting on the sidelines. It kind of breaks the immersion. Bringing pass without trace really helps like involve the entire group because even if your paladin is -1 to stealth with disadvantage because of their full plate, you can still bring that up to a +9. They still have disadvantage, but I mean, the lowest they can roll is a 10 at that point.
right. But yeah, that's still pretty good. For a additional feat. Let's see. You got the innate of high sorcery here. Um, let's
Yep.
see. Da, da,
That would be
da.
Knight of the Crown is next.
Yep, there it is. I see it.
Yep. You are
Uh,
a Knight of Salami aligned with the Order of the Crown, a group that extols the virtues of cooperation, loyalty, and obedience. You excel in group combat and gain these benefits.
Increase your strength
Ooh,
or dexterity score by one. Okay. You learn the distracting strike or goading attack.
yeah, goading attacks another taunt. Basically, it's
Gotcha.
the on a failed save they have disadvantage against other targets.
Okay, so most of these are kind of ability score increase and maneuvers with your superiority dice for the kind of knights and the stuff like that. The
Yeah,
squire, I see all that. Knights of the
and
Rose.
here's the thing: is it ups your superiority dice to D8s too. If I remember right, is that not like a 12th level feature for Battlemaster?
Ooh, that
That's
might be actually. Yeah, I believe they start out at D6s, right?
yeah,
Um,
and not only that, you gain two more superiority dice to add.
so it
So you have your proficiency bonus superiority dice from Squire's Salami, which you have to take as a prerequisite.
so
So you have go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry. So the Battle Master then would probably benefit quite a bit from taking some of these feats, or taking this background if it's allowed, and kind of gaining these. And it kind of, I feel like maybe that's what Wizards of the Coast intention was, because maybe not too many people play Battle Master because it's a, kind of a daunting, like learning the maneuvers and making sure you know how to implement them correctly. But this kind of gives them more play to kind of mess around. And yeah, they might mess up, but they've got extra superiority dice with this. They get uh, additional maneuvers that they might not have chosen initially. Um, so this could be really good for the Battlemaster kind of class if it chooses to go that route.
Yeah, I'm actually just looking at the Battlemaster maneuvers or the Battlemaster class actually here. It looks like they actually do learn quite a bit of maneuvers. They have 3 to start with and they gain 6 over their levels, so you got 9 by the end. But their superiority dice, they start with 4 and they get 1 more at 7th and 1 more at 15th. So you get 6 total from the Battlemaster class. But from these feats here that we're looking at that you get for free, mind you, you're getting your proficiency bonus, which goes up to 6. and you're getting two more from that follow up feat. So you're gaining eight superiority dice, two
Now,
more than the actual class gets.
imagine that you take the human variant, right? And you decide to go with the Battlemaster class. And even if you don't get a background, right off the bat, you get this feat with the Battlemaster class. Instantly, all of your D4s are turned to D8s, and you get six of them right from level one.
Unfortunately, that doesn't
Oh,
work because
yeah, because,
prerequisite
yep.
of fourth level.
Okay.
That would be very fun though. I could see that for like a custom game where you're looking for power builds and you remove prerequisites for like multi-classing feats, even some spells.
Yeah, because I
Uh
think me and you were talking about building a little campaign kind of like that where, there was no real kind of choice there on terms of what you had to go for, kind of being a limited list, but uh, instead you get to kind of choose from any second level class and kind of build your character.
yeah, we'll have to dedicate an episode or maybe like a little special to going over that idea and like theory crafting a little bit on that.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, no, even at fourth level, I mean, jumping from your D6s to D8s and six of them, that's insane. That's a lot of extra added on to your battle master.
Yeah. All right, let's go. Let's get to Knight of the Sword. They're devoted to heroism and courage. Bravery steals your spirits, granting you benefits. You get to increase one of your mental stats, int Wizca up to max of 20 by one. You learn maneuvering or menacing. So either you move, I believe maneuvering, um, you can allow an ally to move up to half its speed without provoking opportunity attacks, and menacing is a saving throw, or else they're frightened.
Right. That's
So,
pretty good.
yeah,
Um,
it's either moving your enemies or moving your allies, is what it sounds like.
all dice are now D8, so same there for the superiority dice. That's still really good.
Yeah.
All right. Knights of the Rose. Let's see what they've got. You learn the Commander Strike or the Rally Maneuver from Battlemaster subclass of the fighter. You can place your maneuver, and then you gain two superiority dice, and all dice are now D8s. So, I'm actually not super familiar with the Battlemaster class subclass, if I'm being honest. So I really don't know what much of these maneuvers do.
Oh, good.
Um,
So rally is the easier one to explain. You can use a bonus action and expend your superiority die, and the creature that you target, a friendly, it gains temp HP equal to your superiority die roll plus your charisma.
okay, that's really good.
So it's just a little bit of defense. Commander's Strike, though, this is one that I feel kind of gets overshadowed, especially if you have a rogue in the party. When you take an attack action on your turn, you can forego an attack and use a bonus action. So you're expending an attack and a bonus action to do this. And you can direct one of your allies to strike. So if one of your allies can see or hear you, that's a prerequisite. They can immediately use their reaction to make a weapon attack and add your superiority die to their roll. Now, with a rogue, they can only sneak attack once per turn, not per round. So if they can use their reaction to attack, they can add their sneak attack to that, which is effectively doubling their damage for that round. So if you have like a 20th level rogue or something, when they're adding like 10d6 for their sneak attack or something ridiculous like that, um, and you can give them an extra attack, an extra chance to proc that sneak attack dice,
Oh yeah.
that's huge for them too.
Oh yeah. You maximize the potential of your rogue kind of dishing out that damage.
Yeah, sometimes the best move is waiving your move to give it to someone else.
Right, and that's a cool feature to have, is the ability to kind of realize what we need right now is to take this guy out, and he's got a little bit of health left, but I know that my damage isn't going to be enough to take him out. So you kind of at fourth level you get your rogue to do it, which has probably I think 2d6 at this point, probably
Yeah,
for sneak attack, plus their 1d8 if they optimized for the rapier, um, and deal that. Or even if you have a ranged rogue with a longbow and their 1d8 damage there plus their 2d6 sneak attack damage, as long as an ally's within 5 feet of the enemy, you're golden. Could you imagine sitting? Your two frontline fighters are the ones actually sitting in the back. One of them's just giving the command strike to his buddy, and he's just dealing out 2 instances of sneak attack damage every round.
Yeah, actually, I'm kind of picturing this. Something I've never really understood is why the Battle Master maneuvers are limited to just fighters. Because it seems like the Battle Master should be a strategist in the back line instead of like up in the fight. He
That's
can't observe a fight from inside the fight.
yeah, and that's kind of on our Friday sessions what I said to the group when Gage passed on, and everyone was looking for a new leader. Is it definitely can't be Vol. Vol's a assassin, and he's gonna always be up in the front lines, kind of trying to deal damage, um, unless I optimize him to go the route of range. Um, but yeah, no, I mean with this, if you take this feat, whether it's for just the background or you just take it at your fourth level, that could be really really good for you know imagine your instead of your wizard or your druid, they take this feat, and now all of a sudden, you don't have to have your fighter give up his turn of attack and kind of holding people in place. You can have your druid who kind of may or may not, be doing other things, casting spells. Same thing with your wizard or your bard, and they can use this to, find a way to uh, more or less just kind of maximize your rogue in the party, or even your normal frontline fighter who might have some additional damage to deal out, or a paladin even.
Yeah, I think I do have a little bit of beef with it as it is very resource heavy, requiring an action for you to take the attack action, your bonus action, and a superiority die. So if you had this on like a sorcerer or something and you took a 2 level dip in fighter, which I strongly recommend on most characters, you could commander strike your rogue to allow them to strike and action surge and cast a leveled spell on top of that.
Right.
Um, just being able to sit in the back, it seems like that would be better for a caster to be able to do. Um, because if you're playing like an arcane archer or something, they require bonus actions. A rogue fighter archer that like has 1 or 2 attacks, they use their bonus action for steady aim. Um, Casters are really some of the only people that don't optimize for their bonus action as well because of the conflict between leveled spells as a bonus action and only cantrips as an action.
Right. And
So
I know a lot of people when playing spellcasters, early level at least, they're kind of very, I don't want to say stingy with their spell usage of anything above, anything at first level or above, but they're very cautious about using their spells. So this could also be good. Excuse me. Good because if they don't want to expend their spell slot yet because they're not really sure how the fight's going, they can just take their turn, and instead of saying, "Oh, I'm just gonna hold my action" or this or that, they can be like, "All right, I'm just gonna command him to strike him again, and we'll move on from there." So I can see where it could be played into and used well, if you're smart about it. But yes, I do agree that it is kind of resource heavy on that end. I would think that um, it'd be nice to have if maybe be able to choose, perhaps maybe expending 2 superiority dice instead of just one, and then being able to still use your action. That'd be kind of nice, having that option there, um, to kind of move around where it takes from.
right. Or even just picking one of the other follow-up feats to get different maneuvers. Or even picking up the feat fighting initiate. I believe that's the one. There's two fighting initiate type feats. One gives you a fighting style, the other one gives you a battle master maneuver and an extra superiority die. So if you
Right.
pick up that one, you can use the superiority die on one of any uh battle master feat. So if you take variant human, or even not, if you take a regular race, then first level you gain the bonus feat, the Squire of Salami, and then at fourth level you gain the bonus feat Knight of the XYZ, and your ASI you can take the Fighting Initiate feat.
Right. I can see how this would be broken with Vol currently in the campaign we're running on Friday, just because of the fact that if I took this feat and I had the command strike, um, what I would use it for is so when I would hit and I get a critical, my Volchalia allows me to give somebody else a critical. So what I do is action surge at that point, and then expend my action surge action, my bonus action, and use the command strike, give it to somebody else, and then they would instantly be able to hit with their crit.
Right, and especially if there's like a one round effect or something, like if you can stack like a branding smite or a wrathful smite or something that gives like a one turn disadvantage, that maybe the boss is up next or something and he's about to be refreshed and cast like shield of faith or shield of faith, shield,
Right.
mage armor, something like that. You want to hit him while he's down.
Right, and kind of just deal as much damage basically before your guys' next round of turn, and that's kind of what I always that's the strategy I always play out is how can I maximize the amount of damage my team could do in one round before we get to his next turn because you know every boss turn is a whole new ball game, so you got to rethink, re-strategize, replan because things change just like that with legendary actions, layer actions, and everything else that a boss might have. But
Yeah.
um, that's pretty much most of the stuff from Heroes of Kern. Uh, honestly, the if you were to just take out the kind of Dragonlance backgrounds, the feats themselves pretty solid. I actually do enjoy the looks of a lot of them. They look like well-rounded feats, something that you would find in the list. Some stuff that not super inertly overpowered or anything like that, but enough to kind of make it worth taking the feat. However, the backgrounds, if you do use them, it is a very very overpowered circumstance.
Yes, I definitely agree that the backgrounds are overpowered, and I agree that the feats are just like generally strong, not overpowered, except in the case of divinely favored.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
you start fucking with which spell lists use which ability score, you run into problems right quick.
yeah.
Wizards aren't meant to heal. You give them a cure wounds or a healing word that scales off their intelligence, you have a wizard with very little like recourse in his choice of spells,
Oh
because
yeah,
now they have the ability to bonus action pick someone up off the ground and still cantrip as their action.
yeah.
You, yeah, this is not good. If you pick a spell and it's from a cleric spell list or a druid spell list, it needs to stay wisdom. You need to be punished for trying to go between archetypes for your caster.
Right. You gotta have that kind of balance in there because and uh, adversely, you spec your class to go with or your abilities to go with your class. So when it comes time to get something outside of your realm of what you use, the ability to use your highest stat available is insane.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. But I think that does wrap it up for tonight. I'd like to thank you guys for listening in. This has been Tiefling Talks with Gage and Brock. Follow us on YouTube, like us on Spotify,
All the
wherever you guys are getting your podcasts from,
Right.
basically.
And don't be afraid to check me out on Start Playing. All the links are usually in the description. I'm not sure how it passes them out, but should be down there. And yeah, thanks for stopping by and saying hi, guys. We'll see you next week for some more Tiefling Talks.
Yep, Bird says bye as well.